Hi, I'm Christina Bergson with the Animal Law Firm, where we are fighting for the underdog in Colorado, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Today is another segment of answering your questions, and today's question is whether or not a landlord, or in the case of this questioner, whether or not a mobile park manager, I guess, can kick them out of the mobile park or kick you out of your apartment for feeding stray cats. This is a very common issue in this country, and I do not know why. Generally speaking, there are prohibitions against feeding wildlife. Wildlife is typically or vermin or rodents sometimes. So vermin or rodents are commonly defined as raccoons, mice, squirrels, chipmunks, those sorts of creatures. Feral animals or wild animals are typically deer, rabbits, certain predatory birds sometimes. Sometimes raccoons will be on the feral list. It just depends on the jurisdiction. Often what's not on the list is stray cats. What can sometimes cause a problem is if the stray cats, if there's a lot of them, if they accumulate in the area, then you can be charged with zoning violations in certain places. This can be like a nuisance issue. So you're bringing a nuisance into the neighborhood. Usually a lot of times it'll be like, oh, the place is unclean, or it smells bad, or the cats are defecating everywhere and it's like raising a noxious smell or something like that. A lot of times these cases are pretty weak, especially in jurisdictions where it's not specifically outlawed. There are some jurisdictions where it's specifically outlawed to not feed stray cats. And that if you do feed stray cats, then you become the owner of those cats. And if those cats have any medical problems and like animal control finds out, then they'll press animal cruelty charges against you. It's kind of crazy and backwards. I don't know why this country hates cats so much, but they really do. So, I mean, in short, can your landlord or like a mobile home park manager kick you out for feeding stray cats? Probably not. It just depends like on what your lease agreement says, or if you're renting in the mobile home, that would also be a lease agreement. So it just kind of depends. Like, I'm not really sure what their covenants or restrictions on mobile home parks like there are in HOA communities maybe. So it's a little hard to say without reading any documentation regarding where you live and the rules and regulations. But that said, if you have stray cats in your area, it would always be good to contact a local cat rescue or cat shelter and see if they can do some trap, neuter, release. Like, a lot of organizations will do that. I've represented people who get accused of feeding stray cats, and then they get, a fine. You're charged with a crime that means they have to pay a fine. Anyway, long story short, in trying to reach out to cat rescue organizations, they won't move the cats. So that's never a resolution. Everybody seems to, like, zoning officers always seem to think that this is, oh, we'll just move the cats. Well, you can't just move the cats. That's like mean. This was their little home where they got their little food. You can't just like put them in a car and like take them somewhere else and then like, oh, problem solved. Because it's not, first of all, it doesn't solve the problem. Second of all, like, that cat might have had a little cat family at home. And so that's just mean. The rescues typically won't take in cats. If you can prove in some way, shape, or form that the cats that you've been feeding are not feral, like, in other words, that they will let you pet them and touch them, and they like are not super freaked out by humans, or not super, I don't want to use the word aggressive because I feel like that word gets thrown around a lot, but like they just don't want to be around humans, and that, but it's hard to tell with cats because sometimes they, like my cat doesn't always want to be around humans. But anyway, whether or not you can get kicked out of your home is kind of a toss-up. I would recommend contacting your local animal attorney. If you're in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Colorado, definitely give us a call. We'd be happy to help you with this. If you are in any of the other 47 states, don't worry, we're close on your heels. We'll be there soon. If you can find local counsel and you need representation, we can get admitted through this legal functionality called Pro Hoc Vice. And sometimes we can represent people in other states if we can get local counsel to cooperate. But anyway, that is it for today, underdogs. I look forward to answering more of your questions later this week. Take care and have a safe and happy week.